Yes, you read the title right. The Science of Naad and Shruti. Well, who would have thought of science and music used in the same sentence? Well, however, we would like to think of music as an emotional and spiritual thing, music is in fact very scientific. I would say that we cannot learn music without science and mathematics. Hi, my name is Aitya Kaushik and I welcome you to the Rag Alchemy. In today's video, we are going to be learning about Naad, and the next part of this video, we will be talking about Shruti. Well, before talking about Naad, let's learn about the creation of sound. Sound is created by vibration. When you hit something with your hand, let's say when you hit a tabletop with your hand, the surface of the table start to vibrate and the air surrounding that table will move outwards, and when that air reaches to your ears you will hear the sound. Similarly, we can take another example. Let's say you strum the strings of a guitar with your hand. The strings will start to vibrate and you can see them vibrating, right? When you strike them and they start vibrating, the air surrounding the guitar will start to move outwards in a wave manner, in a wave motion. And when they reach your ears, you hear the sound of the strings, right? Well, this vibration is known as Andolan in Hindustani classical music. The movement of this wave, as you can see, when it goes upward and then it goes downward and then it comes back to the middle point. This whole motion is considered as one wave, right? This is one Andolan. Okay. Now, there can be many sound waves in a particular sound that you hear with your ear, right? The number of sound waves per second is known as frequency, and we call it as Andolan Sankhya in Hindustani classical music. The higher the number of sound waves in 1 second, the higher will be the pitch of the sound. The lower the number of sound waves in 1 second, the lower will be the pitch of the sound. For example, as you can hear, the sound of this bass drum, it is a very low pitch sound. It is of 80 hertz frequency. And the sound of this flute, it is very light. It is of 800 frequency. It is very high pitch, right? Hertz is the unit of frequency. Similarly, when we go upwards in a saptak, the pitch of the sound increases because the frequency is increasing. And when we go downwards in a saptak, the pitch of the sound is decreasing because the frequency is decreasing. Okay, let's take another example. Let's suppose the sa of Madhya Saptak has a frequency of 200 hertz. Then the sa of Tar Saptak will have the frequency twice of that. That will be 400 hertz. And the sa of Mandra Saptak will have the frequency of half the middle Saptak sa. That will be 100 hertz. So 100, 200, then 400. You can see how the frequency is increasing as we are moving upward and how it is decreasing as we are moving downwards. That is the frequency. An important fact that you should know, human can only hear between 20 hertz to 20,000 hertz. The frequency below 20 hertz is known as subsonic, and the frequency above 20,000 hertz or 20 kilohertz is known as supersonic. Now, the height of the wave, how does it affect the sound? Well, the height of the wave is known as amplitude. The higher the wave, the louder the sound. The shorter the wave, the softer the sound. For example, if you strike a tabla very hard with your hand, the sound will be louder because the wave will be louder, wave will be higher, right? And instead, if you strike it very gently, the sound will be dull and soft because the height of the wave will be softer, because the vibration will be softer. Now, sound can be pleasant as well as unpleasant to our ears. The pleasant and soothing sounds are known as Naad, and Naad leads to the creation of our Hindustani classical music. Now, for a sound to be considered as a Naad, it should follow some rules. First one is A naad should be periodic.
When a sound maintains its frequency for a longer duration of time, it is known as periodic sound, as you can see in this wave. And when the sound wave is changing every second, it is known as aperiodic sound. As you can see, the tanpura is a great example of periodic naad. The sound of a tanpura remains for a really long time. And the other example of aperiodic sound is of a crash drum. The sound of a crash drum has a very irregular frequency. That's why it is not considered as naad. Now, the next point is the naad should be steady. What this means is, suppose if you hit a note on an instrument, the sound should remain for a long duration of time so that it can be replicated on an instrument or with your voice. As you can see, the piano is a great example because if you hit a note on a piano, it will remain for a long duration of time. And you can compare it with, like, if you hit a tabletop with your hand, the sound will die very quickly. That's why it is not considered as a naad.
Yes, we often use unsteady and aperiodic sounds in music. Like, for example, the sound of a crash drum, right? The cymbals, they are used in music, but they are dissonant sound. They are not pleasant to our ears. They are used in a way that they complement the naad, not overpower it, right? Now, let's learn about Sahayak Naad, also known as overtone in Western classical music or harmony. If I play a note, let's say I am playing C sharp 4. Well, you might be asking, what does that mean, C sharp 4? It is a whole another topic to explain. We'll be talking about later. Okay. For now, let's suppose that it is the name of this note, C sharp 4. If I am playing C sharp 4 on a piano and I play the exact same note on violin, would they sound the same? No. You will be easily able to tell the difference, right? You can easily tell me that this is the sound of a piano and this is the sound of a violin, right? Why is that? It is because when a note is played on an instrument, it produces naad, right? But besides naad, it also creates overtones or sahayak naad. This sahayak naad provides the instrument its unique identity. That is why two instruments cannot sound the same. Every instrument have their own personality, they know their own charisma, their own characteristics, right? Let's learn this with another example. If I blindfold you and tell you to recognize two voices, one is of your mother and one is of your best friend, would you be able to tell who is who? You will easily be able to tell that, right? Why is that? Because the texture, the timbre of their voices is different from each other. The timbre or sahayak naad of their voice is different. I hope you have understood everything that we have learned today. If you have any doubt, you can ask me in the comment section. I will answer them and share this video with a fellow alchemist. And I'll see you in the next video of Shruti. Until then, let the notes transform you.